1, 2, 3.
Should be fine. Ready, Mayor?
Call to order. Time is 5:15 p.m. Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance using the flag up here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Here.
Vice Mayor DeVille,
Here.
Mayor Jacobs.
Here.
We have quorum.
Presentation, or additions, deletions, withdrawals from the agenda? None. None. Presentations? We have none. Reports. Reports of committees and staff. 6.1, Broward Sheriff's Office. Chief Captain Coker.
Good evening, Mayor Jacobs, Commissioner Trujillo,
I don't think that's on.
Commissioner Hodgkins. Mayor Charles has the opportunity to present the stats for October 2021. Thank you. During October 2021, we had a total of 598 calls for service. 283 were 911 calls, 195 were non-911 calls, 85 were field-initiated calls, and 35 were park walk and talks where the deputies get out of their vehicles, walk around, and make contact with the citizens. We had 45 accidents, 32 were minor accidents, and 12 of them were accidents with injuries. We issued out 34 citations, 33 uniform citation, and 1 criminal citation. Altogether, we effected 10 arrests for an assortment of offenses. And we had no criminal activity or crimes reported in the mobile home parks. Altogether, during the month, we had 15 incidents. We had 5 auto thefts. We had 5 burglary conveyances. 3 involved smashed windows. 2 of them were vehicles that were unlocked. We had 1 residence that was broken into, and we had 1 robbery, and 3 theft of motor parts, which included catalytic converters, all 3 of them. And again, the classification for the crimes are on the following page, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
I have no questions.
I have no questions either. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Fire Department, Chief Kane looks like he's out of town. We'll get his report next month. Building Department, Building Official Nunez, 7.1, monthly report, October 21, and double permit fee report.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Miguel Nunez, Building Official. I'm going to be presenting the month of October 2021 monthly report. And I can say that as we start a new fiscal year 21-22, it's the Building Department staff interest to maintain a status of excellence with the interaction with our external and internal customers. In addition, we're generating additional outreach opportunities for residents and business owners in the topic of permits, navigation, and the building codes interaction and understanding. Further, we are preparing the 2022 flood outreach. That's in preparation for the CAF assisted visit, and that is to inform the town property owners on the importance of the property's flood protection with the intent to minimize any flood losses, while increasing our presence in the community rating system. That's gonna come soon. By the numbers, during this reported period, we have 87 permits issued, 34 commercial, 53 residential, 80 permits closed, 271 inspections, 131 customer visits, and 21 double permits. That's in the month of October. And you will see why I mentioned the double permits in a couple of minutes, because I'm going to be presenting on the next presentation. In regards to the revenue, during the 4 associated disciplines for the building department, structural, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical, we started the fiscal year collecting in the avenue $37,392 during the month of October. That means in your report, you're going to see the graphical chart in there. One thing that I would like to mention for the notable projects, while we continue Coca-Cola, Amazon, Pembroke Plaza, that is almost ready to receive a certificate of completion. And Seneca, we are progressing in the pre-plan cycle for the O'Reilly's. That's next to the Family Dollar, I believe. I always get confused. Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, or one of those dollars. So on that, and also we started on the pre-plan for the car wash. That is on 3301 West Highlander Beach Boulevard. In addition, of the above reported items, the building department has processed numerous additions, renovations, alterations, and accessories for the townhomes, minor commercial tenant improvement, mobile homes, and other exterior conditions. That is the numbers and the presentation in regards to October 2021. However, the commission during the last workshop, they asked for, especially the mayor, you asked about what was our interaction with code in regards to the double permit fees. As you know, or as the commission know, the double permit fee comes directly from the Florida Building Code, section 109.4, which is AKA Florida statute. During the total we took into the numbers for the fiscal year 2021, we took all the permits associated with building, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and that arise is on your chart in there, 190 total permits that was issued double permit fees for a total double fee only of $21,857.01. That was distributed on the following area: 85 structural, 46 mechanical, 34 electrical, and 25 plumbing. And that is our double permit fee, sir, and commission. If you have any questions, I'm more than glad to answer them, the questions you might have before I go to the next topic.
No questions.
None.
Thank you. You want me to continue?
Are you moving on to the amnesty?
Yes.
All right, 7.2, Town of Pembroke Park Amnesty Program.
Sorry. Mayor, commissioners, as you know, the building department, by initiative of Mayor Jacobs, we've been working on the amnesty program for all the residing property owners. On the property owners, we're talking about mobile homes, condos, single-family residence, we have a couple of them, and townhouses. If you reside on the property and that is your primary residence for your own use, that you qualify for that particular, and that's our part of our program. Now, the amnesty program, why the program what is needed or was needed. An overwhelming receipt of referrals from concerned citizens. Let me see, does this work? Yes. Our overwhelming receipt of referrals from concerned citizens has prompted the town to create a process to uniformly seek compliance for the affected properties. when we're talking about affected properties, we have a lot of legacy properties that they were done work without permits, and right now it's in a very, very high distress for them to comply with the Florida building code, especially because it needs to be in today's building code, regardless of when that was done. That's on Florida statute. However, the Town of Pembroke Park Commission adopt a building permit amnesty program to assist property owners of 1 and 2 family residence, townhomes, mobile homes, and condominium dwelling units to legalize on permit work without having to pay full benefit or full permit fees. And that is a tremendous savings when you go into any double permit fees and anything like that, because of the program, we go into a single inspection, and that will allow the permit fees to be reduced in almost in its totality, if you want to call it that way. The amnesty program provides a window of opportunity to resident property owners to legalize work performed without permits and gain compliance with the current building codes, like I mentioned earlier. Now, they have for 1 year in order to obtain or gain access to this particular program. That was discussed with the town manager, and originally there was a little bit less time than that, and the town manager was gracious enough to increase it into 1 year. Now, during that particular period, qualified property owners can apply for that and begin towards compliance under the provision of the amnesty program. But the issue of the amnesty program is not only is the program, which is the benefits that are outlined in there. I summarized it in 4 outlines. 1, all the permit fees in the building department, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, are reduced. The other part is that all the code fines, if they're already in the code process, like under the special magistrate, they are a stay. That means they do not continue to increase. They do not continue to, even if they are accumulating fines. Yes, they may be accumulating fines on the background just in case they do not comply. But if they comply, they basically, on the forefront, they stay. I mean, they don't go anywhere. Once they bring the building in compliance with the current building and zoning codes, because also that's part of that, all those fines will be removed out of the property. So that means they're going to be abated into that. But one of the biggest benefits that we are proposing to this program is, like our town manager mentioned to me, we're putting our mouth where the program is. Right, JC?
Money where
Our money where the mouth is, yeah. We are putting a grant. So that means each property owner, residing owner, that goes into the program will receive, can I say the number?
No, well, we're still ironing.
We're
out
still
the number,
ironing the numbers.
because it all depends if we can use, ARPA funds.
ARPA funds, yeah.
For it.
So the town will add a certain amount of dollars, so the property owner can cover the alleged the permit fees plus part, if not all, of the engineering cost. Plus, we're going to provide a list of whatever engineers has been working for us in the town for the last 3 or 4 months. We have contacted several engineers, and they're already interested in the program. They're just going to be waiting to be contacted by the property owner. Now, what is the process in reality? It is very simple. You apply for the program. Like any program, you have an application. You hire an architect or an engineer. You apply for the building permits. You communicate with the code compliance division, and all the fines will stay at that particular time. The process, obviously, the process of application, building permit applications, will go to the normal process. However, if they need to have a variance or any administrative condition based on our town planners' processes, they need to apply for that particular process. At the end, they will obtain the building permit. They will obtain the inspections by that particular engineer. If it's a small process that requires only like a windows, for example, it's only one inspection, the town will conduct it to reduce the cost of the engineer, So that additional funds of money, or up to that fund of money, will go to any other property, and that way we can recycle the funds. At the end of compliance, they settle the code enforcement, and obviously the grant on the funds will be reimbursed or repay in a form of an agreement that I have a conversation with the town attorney, and she is being gracious to provide an agreement between the town, or not an agreement, like
It'll be a small, short agreement.
a short agreement, so that way the owner pays everybody and does not stop the payment without just because he doesn't want it to pay the engineer.
We're going to make sure that the engineer is part of the agreement, so that the payment, we can guarantee that the engineer gets paid.
Yeah.
So they're going to need to put the name of the engineer on the application, and there'll be a co-sign.
Now, you're gonna ask, but who's responsible for what? Who's responsible to each particular part of the application or the program? It is very simple. If you look at the workflow, unfortunately, we don't have a larger screen. You notice the workflow, it has on the top, the planning and zoning, second, the applicant, building, code enforcement, and the town grant. That's how we call the funds that the town will assist the property owner. Each and every one of them will have a flow, and the swim lane will tell you exactly who is responsible for what at each particular time, and how it's processed. At the end of the process, and in between of the process, the town commission will be receiving monthly reports as of where the money is, how the application is being. I'm going to be creating presentation about the most used funds, which parks use the funds, or which community, because it's not only for parks, it's only for condominiums and so on like that. Which community or subdivision uses more funds, or the less funds. So that way it's a complete transparency of the funds and the process itself. Now, like I always said, somebody has to be the contact for the town. And that's why I put in there, obviously, I will be the main contact for that particular program. Part of that, my responsibility of that is to take the show on the road. My goal is, as soon as it's approved by the town, that I have the freedom to do that, and that we have a final number based on the possibility of using funds, if we can, I will be able to bring it to each park, each subdivision, or create outreaches, and they can meet here or any location that they wanted, and I will explain the program to them, and I will facilitate the application, not only for the program, but also for the building permits. Also, in that, you're going to have also Lucy Manzero, she is my administrative assistant, also the building manager, she is instrumental on that, and we're going to be adding Nasli Cardona, she's one of our assistant clerk. One of the advantages is that she also speaks Spanish, and that we have a large population of Hispanic people. Lucy speaks French, so I think we cover most of our population at any needed time. Now, that being said, if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
How are we getting the word out about the program?
I'm sorry, sir?
How are we getting the word out to the residents?
Okay, if you look in your package, you're gonna find we're gonna have press releases. If you look at in your package, you're gonna find a brochure. That brochure is being proposed. It's called Amnesty brochure.
Okay.
And that's gonna be we're gonna be giving it to everybody. Also, you're gonna have the Amnesty press release. We're gonna try to provide it to. I'm just going to mention somebody, Channel 10 or anybody else, or we're going to put it in our website as much as possible. Our idea is once it's approved or once we are on board, we wanted to bring every park owner, every homeowner association, every administration for the homeowners association, so they can pass that information to the residents. And at the same time, we will be available should the residents have any questions here and other location. and we're trying to pass the information in 3 languages.
In the terminology where it says it's going to be for residing owners, is that residing owners, does that mean the same thing as owner occupied? Is that the same terminology, or is it a little bit broader?
No, sir, that's what it is, owner occupied, residing owner. Whoever resides there is for their own use. As a matter of fact, if you look at the application in our package, which is one of the first top pages, you notice that one of the requirements, and you can go up, if you can. It's the top. Keep going up, up, up. This way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, keep going. Keep going. Right there. See, this is the building code program application. If you notice, there is a section that says, please submit the following documents to verify property residency. All must show the applicant information. Copy of warranty deed, quitclaim deed, or tax bill, driver license, and utility bill. That's consistent with Florida Statute 489-7A, which is typical as an owner builder. It requires for, the building department is gonna give a permit to the owner, which is gonna be the easiest way for them, so that way they don't have to go into cost for contractors. That way, we can provide the permit to that particular owner. So that's why we link it to the Florida statute. That way, it's less controversy on that.
Okay, thank you.
One major concern residents have had is having the trouble to find engineers for the projects. Are we going to have a handful of engineers?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, we will provide a list for the engineers as a part of records. Not that we're recommending anybody, because everybody's free to use any engineers that they want. But we will provide, like somebody calls for our public records, how many engineers we got into the last 2 months or something like that. We will be providing that. We'll have it for them available. We have contacted some of our engineers and more, asking for their involvement. Some of them have said, I'm interested. Some of them have said, no, I'm not interested. But at least it's something that the property owner, that way they are responsible and they're participant of the process.
How are we going to proceed forward if we have residents who move out and basically pass the buck on to new residents? So people that end up moving in and walking into a handful of violations.
That is a situation where we're going to have to work directly with code based on what we have. And that, like I mentioned, that's a legacy process. That means it's additions, windows, and everything that it has done already on the past. If you are doing the work right now, you do not qualify for the program, because obviously you are doing it. And you know what you need to do. We have a lot and lots of residents that this has been done for 15, 10, 20 years. And regardless of records at that time, they need to be in compliance. We just need to make sure that they are safe. That's the word, safe. And that, in that word, it's only for them. It's not for anybody. So that means if you are going to sell it to somebody else and you're in the program, and look at the sworn statement that I have in that application. That's the reason for that. It says, are you or will you be renting or leasing this sell property within 1 year? That's the same wording that the Florida Statute 489. That means they cannot sell or lease the property within that time. The reason for that is because since we are giving this permit to the property owner, the state statute requires that if you're going to do it, you did it for business purposes. And therefore, you are not entitled for this particular process. We are mimicking that particular process. That way, everybody is with the same playing field.
I had a question about the, if you start the process and you can't just have the place inspected without getting an engineer involved? I mean, what if it's a simple thing, you know? It's like,
Normally, you have to have a code violation already. If you have the place inspected, you just need to call code, and you're open to any observations that code has. Now, just to
I'm
let you
just
know.
saying, like, I know that people throw up sheds all over the place and they do all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Most of them, and like I mentioned, the engineer is the one that is going to make the decision. And like, there will be multiple decisions that we have. I only see probably 3 outcomes. If the property will not be able to comply, because obviously it's not going to be able to comply with the building codes and will not be able to comply with the zoning codes, probably the best choice will be the demolish or removal of that particular affected area, not the mobile home itself, just that addition or that particular spot.
Just a violation. Yeah.
Just a violation. Or correct it in other way. The other way to correct it is to create on the repairs. The engineer will be the one handling those repairs and providing as-built drawings to the building department. Or he just simply provide the as-built drawings and certify the structure.
Okay, and that cost goes directly to the homeowner?
Yes, sir. And that's what is part of the money that we're trying to come together for the ARPA funds, if available, of course. So that way, that particular funds cover, if not all, a large portion of that particular engineering fees. Let's say that, that's not a realistic number. Let's say that the engineer charged $20. And that's why I'm saying not realistic numbers, because I don't want to have expectations. $20, and let's say that our ARPA funds are $15. Well, then the owner is responsible for the $5, but what if the engineer charge you only $5? We pay the $5 and it costs nothing to that particular property owner.
I want to talk to that engineer.
That's why I don't want to make
That
numbers
$5
on
one, I
expectations.
want him. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
What happens if the homeowner sells anyway within the 1 year? Does it affect the
Well,
next owner?
that will affect not only the property, that affects also the Florida statute. Remember, the Florida statute is the one that says that you cannot sell or rent that property within 1 year. If not, you commit a felony. In simple words, that means you cannot do it. In that case, you need to hire a contractor. Now, there is other restrictions in that. For example, condominium units cannot use owner-builder. They need to use contractors no matter what. But for the most part, a condominium unit will not have a structural component associated, maybe a kitchen or a bathroom or something like that, which tends to be lesser cost associated than an addition or any other type of violation. Could be a fence, could be a window. If that's the window, you don't need, per se, an engineer if it is a townhome, because that's covered by Florida Board of Rules and Appeals and the Florida Building Code. If it is a condo, that's a different issue. So there's many other rules and regulations that will lose or lessen the cost associated with this particular program in one type of ownership, and then it will raise it in another. One of the most affected ones, and this, unfortunately, I have to say it, is the mobile homes. And the mobile homes are the most affected and the most people that are going to use the most amount of money.
Miguel, following up on the question that Vice Mayor DeVille had, if somebody comes in and participates in the program and they complete it, they fix their mobile home, is there any restriction for them to sell after that?
If it's an owner-builder, let's say it's a condominium or a townhouse, you cannot use owner-builder. You need to use a contractor. But because of the program itself, no, you don't have to comply. Only if I issue the permit to that particular individual under the pretense of 489. And sometimes that's a little bit complicated, so it's clear?
So and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it a little bit more, because this is a good question. Let's say I own, I'm a mobile homeowner, I live
Okay.
there.
You live on mobile
I
homeowner.
live there.
Fine.
I get my permit, I go through this process, I get reimbursed my engineering fees, whatever they are, my permit fees. The work is completed, I now have a legal, two-code mobile home. And I want to put it on the market. I cannot?
I can only tell you what the state statute says. The state statute
1
says
year.
1 year. Property owner, a mobile home is also considered a property owner in a leased lot. That's on the state statute. So that means they cannot do that. If they do that, it's considered that it was performed as for business. I can only give you what the law says. I
Okay.
cannot tell you what's going to happen if something like that.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Good for me.
Thank you for all your hard work on that.
Thank you, sir.
Next item will be 8, code enforcement. Chief Code Enforcement Officer Ramirez.
Good evening, Mayor, per Commissioner. Jocelyn Ramirez, Chief Code Enforcement Officer. I'm here to report the month of October 2021 for code enforcement. Can you open the other attachment? That's the detailed report that's on the screen. You can take your time to look at it. So for the month of October 2021, we had 2 supplemental order claim of liens, 26 notice of violation, 53 notice of formal hearings, 31 final orders, 1 courtesy notice, 3 amended final orders, 3 affidavit of noncompliance, 18 affidavit of compliance, and 2 abatement orders. The following is the dates for the special magistrate. We completed the October 2021 magistrate and the November 17, 2021. As for December, we won't be having a hearing. We'll be having one in January. The date is still tentative. Some updates that we have for now are we're still working on the graffiti removal on Southwest 30th. We did have some progress on the eyesore, which is 2503 Southwest 30th Avenue. They have 60 days to paint all the graffiti. If not, they're going to start a daily fine. The GIS system for code enforcement is completed. And we're still working with the town attorney for the citation process. We're still working on town corridor assessments. And as of now, there's a vacant position in code enforcement. So we are spreading the word around. Next pages are some updates of things that were complied. The first page is property 3192 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard, where there was a lot of blight. That's the before. The following page is after. As you can see, they added the yellow portion, which is not a color that the town approves. So the following is the after, when they corrected it. The next page is the same property. They had neon lights. They removed it. That's on a smoke shop on 3192 West Hallandale Beach Boulevard, Unit F. The following property is Dollar General. They had a prohibited donation bin. And when I say prohibited, it means that these bins are not part of a charity organization. So Dollar General removed it.
Bins keep popping back up.
Yes, but this time they removed it. It was in
right.
Public Works. Next property is 3475 Southwest 52nd Avenue. There was an unpermitted fence. As you can see, the unpermitted fence looks in deplorable condition, mixed match wood, and after the permitted, it looks very nice. Next property is 5500 Southwest 32nd Court. This was a vacant property where there was constant trash, as you can see. Next page is the aftermath of the developing property. They did a very nice duplex. One thing that I want to mention that it's not on the report is that Hallandale Beach Boulevard is going to be closed to vehicular traffic due to South Florida Railroad Traffic Authority railway grade crossing rehabilitation during the following days. Wednesday, December 1st, 2021 at 9 p.m. to Wednesday, December 8th, 2021 at 6 a.m. So there's going to be a lot of detour around those dates, and if they don't finish the work on time, the work can continue to December 9th, 2021.
I was going to mention that during my report at the end, that the SFRTA will be, Hollandale Beach Boulevard is going to be closed at the railroad. They're going to be doing maintenance work on there for those 8 days.
Sorry, didn't mean to steal her show.
That's all right. It's better you to provide that news.
Any questions?
Both directions?
Yes. Pembroke Road, if you're,
Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
9, Finance Department, Finance Director Taubenfeld. 9.1, Business Tax Receipts and Billing Update, BTR Administrator Grooms.
Good evening. Good evening, Commission. Harry Taubenfeld, Finance Director, reporting on behalf of Michelle Grooms, Billing Tax Administrator. What you have here in front of you is an updated summary of the outstanding balances. Focus on the center of the page. You'll see that the annual billing, middle of the page, top highlighted by green. Total annual billing for the BTRs for this fiscal year was $342,000, of which $283,000 has been collected, leaving a pending balance of $51,000. Those are from the existing businesses. Right below it, details for you the new businesses that have formed in the town and the revenue generated for that. Below that, you'll see the listing of outstanding receivables for different customers that we have that make payments in lieu of taxes, as well as some other miscellaneous receivables that we have for the town. And that's pretty much it. Here to answer any questions if you have them.
How are we pursuing the delinquencies on the?
But good question. Actually sat with Building and Code last couple of weeks, coming up with a game plan. The plan was to go and, I guess, pound the pavement and locate and go to these businesses and notify them of their outstanding balances and try to go the code route. With the vacancy in that position, that process is going to be delayed a little bit, but the game plan is in place. It's just now being able to execute it.
We don't do like a certified mail thing first?
Well, that's in addition to mailers. The billing actually starts in June, and the June goes out actually the first week in July, and every single month we send out reminders. Officially, penalties don't kick in until October 1 when the payments are due. So October, we sent out reminders again in October. We sent out reminders in November. We're calling businesses as well. So the next step is to get code enforcement involved, and that's what we're going to do as soon as we fill that vacancy.
What's the update with Church of Christ?
We had town attorney was working on that. They were supposed I believe she reached out to them, was planning to reach out to them on that.
The interim and I are working on that case, and we're going to get a letter out to them.
Any other questions?
No questions, thank you.
Questions on that item? Nine point two, bills over 1,500.
Yep. So what you have here is just a listing of invoices. Actually, the ones that really need approval are the ones that, based on new procurement policy, are over $10,000, which are the top two items. Those are the legal bills related to the progressive waste lawsuit. And then you have some additional expenses that we're listing here for, just for you to review, or view, I should say, just to give you an idea as to what some of the other large expenses the town is incurring. Any questions?
No, no questions.
Great.
9.3, FRS,
Yep.
name change designation.
Just I need some housekeeping work here. When the town of Pembroke Park first formed with FRS back in 2007, 2008, the position, the senior management position that was created was Public Works Director. We no longer use that title, so we go by the Public Service Director position. So in order for the individuals to be recognized as the Public Service Director, FRS is requesting a name change and documentation to state that, so that they can recognize the Public Services Director position going forward. So just need a vote on that.
Vote to agree with that.
9.4, budget amendment.
Yep. So every year, towards the end of the fiscal year, in preparation for the audit, Finance Department prepares a budget amendment. It's just really a reclassification of expenses, of unallocated funds to some other accounts where we might have exceeded the individual line item. To give you a general idea, there's no financial impact whatsoever to the reserves of the town. But just to give everybody an idea, any line item that you see highlighted in red, you'll see a change from the original amount that was approved back in September of 2020. So again, just what you see here is the budget amendment for the fiscal year 2021, requesting your approval so we can allocate the funds properly to the respective accounts.
Guess I'm seeing a little confusion because it looks like building permits are back into the general fund.
They're part of they have their own ledger, trial balance, so they have their own, they're accounted for differently. They're part of the general fund, but yet a special fund within the general fund, I guess is what we'll call it.
Remember correctly that the building department needed a completely separate budget than the general fund, and that was one of the OIG.
The building department does have a separate budget. They have separate general ledger codes. They start with the 100 series. Any account that starts with 001 would be the non-building department accounts as part of the general fund. Any account that starts with the 100 series would be the building
departments?
Yes, sir.
And 001 is regular general fund.
Yes, sir.
100 is the building departments.
Yes, sir.
questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Ten, Human Resources, HR Consultant Menegazzo. 10.1, update to Employee Handbook.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. So as you recall, or maybe you don't recall, but about a year ago, we implemented a new employee handbook. And so 1 year later, we have revamped it a little bit, tried to make it better. As I had presented to you a year ago, this is a living, breathing document, and we continue to make it better and make improvements to it. So I just wanted to go over some of the things that we added. One of the things that we added was an anti-bullying policy. Although we already had an anti-discrimination and anti-harassment policy, I specifically added language for bullying. And then we also added a telecommuting policy, which is just something that because of COVID, because of the times that we live in, there's a little bit more discretion and flexibility for the manager to allow someone to work remotely if necessary. And it's kind of evaluated on a case-by-case basis. We also wanted to add to this handbook, and we have added it, the language, the observance of the Juneteenth holiday. As most of you know, Juneteenth is the oldest national commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States, and it was recently signed into federal law as of June of 2021. So what we would like to propose is that we include that in the town's observed holidays for its employees. And since Juneteenth already passed for this calendar year, what we'd like to do is just offer it as a floating holiday for 2021. So we'll give the employees like a month to use that floating holiday. And then moving forward in 2022, we actually observe it on that day. So that would be basically an additional benefit to our employees. We also added something called a leave donation policy. This is in case there's an employee that is maybe on sick leave and they run out of sick time or vacation time, and the staff would like to donate their accrued time so that the person can continue to get paid during that difficult time that they have. So, and of course, there's boundaries so that, you know, an employee doesn't give all of their time, right? They still are allowed to keep a certain amount accrued in their bank, and then they're allowed to donate a certain amount of time. And then last but not least, we just spruced up a little bit the language for that's related to IT responsibilities. So when it comes to the town website, where the responsibility lies for maintenance and updates to the town website on behalf of each department head, and the social media pages as well. The manager has specific designees that manage the town's social media pages, and so we have that responsibility outlined in the handbook. So that's an overview of all of the policies that we added, and we'd like to, you know, roll this out to the employees and let them know and give them a summary of some of the updates that we made. But I would say the most important one is that we're adding technically two benefits. We're adding the Juneteenth holiday, and we're adding the leave donation.
I'd just like to point out, myself and Yolanda were working on Juneteenth long before President Obama made it, or Biden made it a holiday. So we were trying to come up with the solution for that prior to, and then things turned real quick on us, so. We're a little behind there.
But again, it's not to say that they won't benefit from it this year. They'll still get it as a floating holiday this year. Does anybody have any questions on any
Yeah,
of
the town website, who's overall responsible then?
So the main town website page is right now under the town clerk, and then each department head manages their specific page. That responsibility, I would assume, would shift when we hire the PIO, but the clerk would still have access to the town website just because she's the official record keeper of the city. So she would need to have records of all of that. Anything that we publish to the public.
Especially when Especially also like to advertise meetings and things like that, she'll be able to.
Correct.
How are you going to keep track of all this time, floating days and all that?
So
Each head going to be responsible for keeping track of it all?
for the time, you mean for like the accrual banks of vacation, sick time, holidays, all that? So we have the HR payroll solution, ADP, that keeps track of it. So the employees on their mobile devices can request time off. Like, so let's say if we add Juneteenth to our policies,
That will actually
we
flow
add
into it?
Yeah, we add it into the system, and the employees will see it, be able to select it, and once they take it, it gets deducted. And there's a record of the request, there's a record of the approval of the manager, and then there's a record that it gets removed from their balance.
So it's all done on ADP anyway?
It's all online.
Ain't that great?
Did you mention the social media area?
Yes.
I was looking for it maybe as you were speaking.
That basically the manager designates which pages, like he has a designated person for each social media page that we have, and he determines who's responsible for that, which again, right, a lot of that responsibility is going to fall on the new PIO. Probably most of the responsibility. And same thing, it's the same concept. Your town clerk still has access to all of this because this is all information that we're putting out to the public. So we need to keep track of all of this.
Bereavement leave, up to 3 days, 3 business days?
Correct.
What was it before?
It was the same.
Was it the
three
same?
days?
It's just showing an update on it. There's up to 3 business
Oh,
days
I
or
know
24 hours.
I think what I changed is that it said 3 days, not up to 3 days. And technically
Okay.
speaking, if someone wants to take off 1 or 2 days, they should be allowed to. Not just that they're automatically granted the 3 days if they don't need it and if they don't want it, right? They should be allowed to determine what they need. And then anything after that, like if they need to travel out of the country or anything like that, they would use their vacation, their sick time to cover the rest of the time. I would say 3 days is pretty standard.
Who's currently in charge of the website? Like updates, let's say it crashes or something? The
Oh,
technical
whenever
stuff.
anything crashes here, that would be
That's
Mr.
Mark?
Pakula, our IT director.
I thought we outsourced that.
No.
And even if it's outsourced, there's still oversight from our IT director.
If I may, can I add something? Mark Pakula, IT Director. Just so you know, we've cleaned up a lot of the social media, and when we do bring that person on board, we're ready to give over all the Facebook pages, a lot of the social media, so they can manage all of it. We've centralized it all. So before it was a little all over the place, but now we've got it cleaned up. And when we bring that person on board, they'll be able to take over all the social media for the town.
That person will be like a pre-screener.
Basically, I would say that that person can handle all the requests for all the, we have multiple Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitter, things of that nature for the town, the police, and, the town manager will decide, I guess, who handles what, but they'll be centrally set up so they can affect all those pages at the same time, where before it was a little all over the place. We have people doing some pages, but not everything.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And of course, these updates, the language, it's all been reviewed by our town manager and our town attorney. So we've had, a double check system here to make sure that this is a good manual for our employees as well as compliant with all best practices and laws.
All right, any more questions?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, we do. 10.2, town staffing.
Mayor, I was going to defer that one for the time being.
11, IT Department, IT Director Pakula. Updating 11.1, updating the audiovisual system in the commission chambers.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Mark Pakula, IT Director. Basically, we're going to revamp our whole system. It's outdated. We've had a lot of issues, as you know. This will allow us to renovate the whole infrastructure for our sound system, also give us some hybrid capability, so we can do a regular meeting like this and attach our meeting for the outside, and both will be interactive. It includes the rack, the amplifiers, new microphones, new wiring, repositioning some of the cameras, basically taking everything out from underneath the dais, moving it into a secure rack just in front here, cleaning up this whole area, and then some rewiring.
Any questions? Do we have the funding for this? Where's this coming from?
I believe I would turn that over to the Finance Director on that one.
There is a line item on the budget for town hall renovations. The commission approved $70,000 for the current fiscal year for town hall renovations. This would fall under it.
Falls under that?
This would fall under it.
Questions? No. Consent. Town Planner Siegel, 12.1, October, November, Town Planner Monthly Report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Just some quick highlights from the past month. We released the market analysis RFQ. They came in yesterday and we had 4 responders. We'll be having an evaluation committee amongst staff next Tuesday and hopefully bring a contract to you either at the December or January meeting. In addition to continuing to work with potential developers in the town, we did have the Planning and Zoning Board meeting for the Wawa site. You will see a portion of that tonight at the regular meeting. And one other thing I wanted to highlight is I've been starting to look at the sign ordinance. This relates back to the visioning workshop that we had where we talked about improving the aesthetics in town, and addressing signage is one great way to start cleaning up the corridors. So I've been working with the town attorney and the code supervisor on this, and we hope to get this through the process, which would include first Planning and Zoning Board and then you over the next several months. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Where are we at with 95?
We have not heard anything back from them since the last meeting, which was with first responders, and then the manager and I had a meeting with them where they basically told us there's no changes.
They said there were no changes. And I
They
said,
told us it would have some information for us, and there was no information.
So all 3 cities have all submitted rebuttal to this.
Yes.
resolutions opposing, that's correct.
3 cities have submitted, and they're still not budging.
Correct.
Melissa, is there something we need to do?
Well, probably JC should reach out to the managers of each of those cities and discuss if they want to try to, it's really a policy decision if you want to try to push back on FDOT by legal means. I don't know exactly what those would be, but I would imagine, but I know there are, obviously.
We can explore those opportunities.
We could explore those opportunities, and ideally, you would want to do it with the other 2 cities, so we would, break the bank doing it on our own. But there may be, and that way, the obviously, the brain trust, hopefully, of all 3 of those cities, we could even use maybe the in-house legal departments rather than an outside counsel for implementation. So, possibility.
Okay. JC? Reach out to those town attorney or town managers and get on board. both okay with exploring any opportunity we can through our town manager and town attorney to put a stop to FDOT?
Certainly, yeah.
Some direction for you guys?
You got it.
Has the property come up with another, Wawa's confirmed for fast food, was it still Popeyes is confirmed?
I believe they're just waiting to see some approvals for us. The representatives will be here at the 7 o'clock meeting, and you can certainly get more up-to-date information from them. Wawa, I know, is signed, or is close to sign, they're in.
So what's going on with the 7-acre property over here?
It is back on the market, from my understanding. I'm getting a lot of calls of different options, one being some affordable housing to go into there, or at least some of the units to be affordable housing. The property as it stands now is required by the plat, which was approved by Broward County, to have 33 units of affordable housing on it as part of the 168 residential units that was approved for it. And that did not seem to scare off the person who inquired. I have not heard back from them, but hopefully they're moving forward. It's been a week, so I answered some more questions and they thanked me. So hopefully they're still moving forward. I did get a call about the site for a pharmaceutical plant to go on the site, which is not allowed by the zoning anyways.
I've noticed a lot of given that my office is right
Yes.
there. They've been on the lot.
Like daily, yeah.
Oh, there were huge cement
Right.
barriers.
I've seen them moving things
Yeah.
around.
Those have been removed, they're mowing it, so there must be something, they're sprucing it up.
They're making it look, nice for somebody, yeah. So I'm hopeful that it will go the next step. As always, I've offered to sit down with them to talk about the vision of the town and start shopping around whatever ideas they have for the housing project. So hopefully, after the Thanksgiving holidays, we'll hear more from them.
Under building permit inspection zoning, it says 317.
I suspect that is a total typo and probably
I was
31.
thinking so. Okay.
Thank you for catching that. It's probably 7. It was probably just a typo, and I suspect it's 31 based on the amount of permits.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
No, I don't have any, thank you.
Planning zoning board, are we have a full board right now?
Yes, we do have a full board. No, we are waiting for one more person.
Is there someone there or?
No, if you know of someone. We had a member move out in the last month or two.
You guys know anyone?
Send them my way, and we'll get them on the agenda.
Get a hold of Heidi. That's all the questions I have. Do you guys have any? All right, thank you. 12.2, appointment of commission representative to the MPO.
So for many years, former Commissioner Howard Clark represented the town on the Board of Directors of the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization, the MPO. The MPO oversees transportation projects and funding for those projects throughout Broward County. Every municipality has a seat on the board. There's a shadow board of staff that follows it along. We need to, or we should, appoint and take advantage of our seat. It helps with planning for transportation projects as well as having a seat at the table when it comes to funding opportunities. The appointed member will attend approximately 10 hearings a year. I have done this in other cities, so I am happy to shadow whichever commissioner is selected to go, review the agendas with you, attend meetings with you to get you up and running, as well as the MPO staff has already communicated to me they are happy to do an orientation.
It's a pretty big time for the MPO because there's a lot of federal dollars coming through. Every region in the country has some kind of, sometimes they're called TPA, sometimes they're called TPO or MPO, and the federal government funnels a lot of money through them for transportation projects. So I have this also on the regular or the special meeting agenda at 7 o'clock tonight. So if you would like to discuss amongst yourselves now who might be interested, then we can have a formal vote for that at the next meeting. Or if you would like me to come back in December for that.
Let's discuss this.
Discussing anything off the record?
No, right now.
Oh, okay.
I meant right
Sorry,
now.
I thought you meant-
Yeah, no. I gotcha. I'm familiar with those laws.
I know. It just
I know, sorry.
All right, so let's have the discussion. I would love to sit on the MPO, but I'm out of time. I cannot put anything else on my plate. So,
Morning doesn't work for me. Notice the time is 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
That's not gonna work, sorry.
it's,
What's the,
oh, go ahead.
so what exactly is, when is it?
So it is the second Thursday of every month at 9:30. Their office is in Fort Lauderdale at Cypress Creek and 95.
They have a beautiful facility up there.
They put together the agenda. It's a very professionally run organization. Like I said, I would be willing to meet with you before, review the agenda, attend the meeting with you. I know there's like a lot of acronyms and lingo that we talk about in transportation planning and get you
Right.
up to speed.
Yeah, I would take that on. I would like, I'd be interested.
Great view of the airplanes coming in.
Yeah.
To Executive
I
Airport in
think
the
you'd be a
background.
great fit for it.
I could hear you now.
Yeah.
No, it's something that we need to have representation on, and
Well, if it brings in money, then
it does,
to the town.
it does. So, you all right with that?
Fine with that.
All right.
So
let's
you'll
move
make a
that.
motion at the next.
We'll move that to consent. All right. Next, amendment to Interim LLC contract with GIS mapping services.
So,
Approval to the amendment.
So we already are under contract with Interdev for GIS services. This is our mapping services. The general building of the program has been completed, and the next step is to build for the police department, as well as to do some more things for the existing departments, such as there's some outstanding planning layers that need to be done. And then they would be updating different layers, either be it monthly or quarterly, based on the type of projects. It could be such as our capital improvement projects, code violations, active, what we would call projects of significance, large development projects coming in, as well as continuing to update information as we update our lift stations, hydrants, all of those type of structures are on the mapping. So we would like to stay with Interdev and do an amendment to their original contract, and the amendment would be $45,888, and this was included in last year's budget. This year's budget. I apologize. Thank you.
Town manager's recommendation?
I recommend,
All right, any questions?
Done.
No, I don't do it.
And so this contract is on the next.
Yes, it is on
7 o'clock
consent
meeting.
as of now.
All right, let me just read it real quick here. Let's move this over to consent as well.
The ongoing maintenance, how long is that for? Is that indefinite?
That's the monthly and quarterly updates to the layers. So every time we get new information on a big development coming in, they will update the map. Code and compliance will provide them with information on cases, and they'll update the map. So that's the ongoing maintenance. most bigger cities have a staff person who's a GIS specialist. It's not something that we really have space for here, so I think, we're getting a good bang for our buck. And our project manager there devotes at least one full 8-hour day every week to us, which is very reasonable for the amount of work we have.
All right, let's move that one to consent.
Great, thank you.
13, Police Department, Interim Chief Police Chief Howard, there's nothing there. 14, Public Services Department, Public Services Director Clark. 14.1, piggyback contract North Bay Village for town holiday decorations.
Good evening, Clerk Commissioner Hodge, Vice Mayor DeVille, and Mayor Jacobs. I'll give you a quick report as to the Public Services Department. I promise you it won't be 30 slides. So essentially we have, we're waiting for commission approval on the park trail. We're also waiting for final commission approval for HMGP drainage with Keith and Associates. Waiting for final commissioner approval to proceed with Calvin Giordano and the proposal for RFP for the police, and we're waiting for final commission approval for the bid for the 47-year CDBG agreement. Permitting process for underway for CNI design and construction and commence for the lift station number 15. And the solicitation for the windows and doors for the town hall hardening is underway and should have been advertised. It was advertised and should be on the way in a 40-year building. Inspection report is under review, and Southwest 25th Street Drainage Project meeting is tomorrow, or it was supposed to be today, so I don't know if that is going to make it happen or not. So now we're talking about some of the things that we were taking a look at. We want to use a piggyback contract to install the system here for the decorations, and this is the numbers that we're looking at. So if you could click that, and you can actually see the numbers associated with it at the very top, PDF, and the pricing. Did it scroll all the way down?
Just want to mention that this contract is on the 7 o'clock meeting. I did not, there is some tweaking that will need to be done to it once you approve it, but essentially it will be in the same form.
All right, that should be it. This is what the proposal boils down to, and if you can scroll down to go in the other direction. Okay, you can stop there at that one. Yeah, so this is actually billed out for the actual town hall. We have a number for that, and that's roughly $8,500 to make it look that way. Then you go to the next slide. Say again? Yeah, just labor, sorry. Just labor. And then we're talking about, the next slide would be for Howland Beach Boulevard, option 1. And go to the next one. Different directions. And then we should have an option for Hallandale Beach 2. Keep scrolling. Is there another? Should be 2 for that. And that's pretty much where we are. Plus the median trees, and the total, we scroll down. Those are our grand totals there. 38,298 or 65,092.
But they need to.
They have to
pick an
adjust those.
option.
Yeah, pick an option.
That's why the contract is not.
So depending on.
Do that now, or you want to do it?
No. We're going to do that in the next. All right, and then we'll come up with agreement as to which one you would like. Okay.
Put this as a line item.
And
Vendor's proposal?
what was it?
Does that from, oh, I got 4 boxes to check here. Hold on one second. Oh, okay, that's the same thing I just went through.
So it's my understanding you're not doing all of these, you're just doing one of these?
Well, we'd have to choose how,
Pick or
how,
choose?
how you wanted to break it out. Do you want option 1, option 2? Do you want?
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't mind? I'm sorry. I'm just going to interject because I did actually speak with the vendor as well. In totality, we're looking at, if we choose both the town hall as well as the boulevard, we're looking at a total number roughly, I think it was what, $48,000, whatever that total, I'm sorry, $65,000 number. You do, if you purchase it, you do have the option to go with option number 2. If you decide to purchase it with the labor as well as they're willing to store the merchandise for us as well, the total comes out to about $26,000 for the 1 year. We have about $25,000 budgeted already in the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. If you're looking for recommendation, my recommendation would be to go with option 2, where we dress the boulevard this year. We have it, we maintain it, and then next year we can add to it, potentially, if you want to do the building, we can do the building. We can maybe work within the confines of the same budget if we want to maintain the same number or increase the budget. But if the goal is to get something done for this year, my recommendation would be to do the boulevard for roughly $26,000. If the commission so chooses, again, there's $25,000 allocated for the budget.
All right, thank you.
All right, here's the real question. Are they covered when someone runs into them? Because as soon as we fix something on that boulevard, someone runs into it.
I'm sure either their insurance or our insurance.
Somebody's going to
All
cover
right.
it. Just continue on with the monthly report. Received quotes to repair Southwest 30th Avenue roadway. That was something that was brought to my attention, and that little piece of roadway is going to run us around $18,000. And so we need to decide that we want to move forward with that. We attended the SFRTA meeting, myself and the deputy. We were able to get a timeline. I handed that off to the manager to identify exactly along the process and what the detours would be for the railroad repair. So we have that available to you if you needed to see that. And so we've redesigned the parking, as you can see in the back here, for where the police cars are going to be and where the town cars are going to be. And we've identified very specific parking spaces, as you can see for yourself. The 3 of you all have spaces up front, as well will be for the new commissioners when they're voted in. And we had a great turkey giveaway yesterday to the Parks and Recreation Department. It was outstanding. That was the first time I've ever been to one, and I was glad to see full force everybody coming out to support that and give away a lot of turkeys.
For a Christmas toy drive.
All right. We have any questions?
Questions?
Mayor, just touching up on the last item that he mentioned, the turkey giveaway, I do want to acknowledge Joy and her hard work in putting that event together. It was a great event.
I'd like to get those flyers out. Actually, I think we get a lot more response when we get those door to door. So I know my family's going to be taking them to at least 3 communities that are not age restricted. But we have the rest of the town that needs covered. A lot of people aren't signed up on the Everbridge quite yet.
We got the flyers ready to go, and we'll speak with staff to see if we can disseminate that information.
Okay. And I'll get with you. I have and tell you what I have covered.
Got it.
All right. Any other questions?
None.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
No old business. No new business. Discussion. 17.1. We're going to push this one off or table this till we have a police meeting. I've got some changes to the budget, so we'll circle back around for the 15th.
Okay.
Town clerk comments. Town clerk?
Town clerk?
It's like a deer in headlights right there.
Sorry, I apologize. No, I just wanted to bring to your attention that Mark and I have been exploring another portion of iCompass, which also goes ahead and you can report public records requests through that system, and it tracks them and everything else. So we're really excited about launching that soon, but we'll have more information for you in the next couple of months. Thank you.
Town attorney, comments.
So I will mention it here rather than wait until the end of the next meeting. Each of the commissioners got an email from me today about the settlement in the progressive matter. I need to meet with each of you individually next week on it. We've settled it in principle, and it's coming to you for agreement. There's going to be some ordinances that are involved, proven ordinances. But I think it's a very good settlement. I think it serves both the town and Progressive / Waste Connections, and gives us as a town the authority we need to make sure that our citizens have a good quality of life, the citizens near there, and but also allows the facility to operate. So anyway, it could be expecting a phone call or an email from me to set up an appointment about that. And it is, part of the settlement is to get all of our attorney's fees paid, which you've seen coming through, the bills coming through for it. So that's another nice thing that we were able to negotiate. And that's it.
Town manager, comments?
No, Jocelyn stole my thunder earlier. So, it's okay. And I did recognize Joy for an excellent job on her and the turkey drive.
Commissioner comments. Clerk Commissioner Hutchins.
No, I don't have any, thank you.
Mayor DeVille?
The Christmas decorations, I'm not too happy with what we have now. But within the budget that we had, that's the most we could do. We under budgeted. I didn't know decorations was so expensive. The options that were presented previous meetings, I thought they were within our budget. Turned out those were just examples, and they were like 60,000 and up. Our $20,000 budget, we just had to make it work and try to do better next year. Hopefully we'll have our receptacles in the meeting. That's it for me.
All right, and I have no comments. 22, announcements. I have anything listed.
No, I have them for the next meeting.
That's what I thought. So, 23, adjournment. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.